For the first time in 2024, the Astros can call themselves a 500 baseball team. They swept a mini series from the Colorado Rockies this week, and they won their season high seventh straight game. We've got a lot to talk about in this week with a couple of injury updates, some good ones and some bad ones, as well as what's up next for the Astros. It's all coming up next. Stay tuned. How sweep it is. It's kind of crazy to think that just over a week ago, the Astros were just 7 games under 500 and 10 games back in the division. They have never been this far out of a division since probably the end of 2016. And honestly, I could probably be wrong on that. I can't remember the last time they were this far out of a division race. When all of a sudden, in just a little bit in that time, they have gained 5.5 games on the Seattle Mariners in the division and have also gained some ground in the AL wildcard race. They are just 4.5 games out of the division and just 3 games out of a wildcard spot. I thought that maybe after that loss in the Chicago series in that first game, I thought this season was going to be one and done. But little did I know that I would actually be talking about this team being at 500. What a run. Well, let's break down this series. But real quick, before we do that, let's dive into a couple of injury updates, starting with Kyle Tucker. He did take some swings on Sunday and hit some baseballs, albeit off of a tee. It's better than nothing, but the Astros do say that they hope that he will start running in a couple of days. He could start running this weekend as when I'm recording this. So that could be a good thing. We might see him back hopefully at the end of the month. I would hope that he might be able to rejoin the Astros on this road trip. I mean, it would kind of be a big thing because it would kind of be big if he could, because it's a pretty tough road trip. Next up, Luis Garcia. He will be making his first starts in the Florida Complex League this weekend, I believe is what it's called. I don't exactly remember. But he has been killing it in his rehab assignments, and word is, obviously, if all goes according to plan, he should be rejoining the Astros rotation in approximately a month from now. So we'll see. I mean, barring any setbacks, I would imagine he'll be able to keep up to that. Next up is Victor Caratini. He did suffer a quad strain, I believe is what it is, sliding into home plate in a game in Chicago. And unfortunately for him, he may be out for the next 3 to 4 weeks or so, depending on how well that thing heals, which would put his timetable of return to sometime after the All-Star break. I mean, could be sooner or later than that. We'll see. But so far, mostly good news around this team. So, I mean, I'm kind of glad that we're kind of slowly getting healthy. But Justin Verlander, on the other hand, I did forget to mention him. Unfortunately, he's still dealing with neck spasms. He's feeling a little bit better, but he still hasn't even thrown a baseball yet or even played catch yet. So he's still a no throw. But diving right into the series itself, it was a very good series. With Hunter Brown starting the very first game of this series, the Astros scored 5 runs in the first inning against Austin Bomber, I think is his name. I mean, they tagged him for a couple of runs early on when they faced him in the Mexico City series, and then at that point he settled in. And for this game in particular, it was more the same result. He pretty much had a meltdown in the first inning and then settled in over the course of the game. So yeah, the Astros scored 5 runs in the first inning off of him. They did not score any for the rest of the game, but luckily they would not relinquish that 5-0 lead. The bullpen did give up 2 runs, one of which coming off of Seth Martinez, who didn't even pitch a full inning. And then I believe Ryan Presley had given up another run, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, seeing Seth Martinez struggle a bit, I mean, not really a good thing. But to his credit, he had not pitched in a game in over a week. So, I mean, hopefully showing a little bit signs of rustiness. But I would expect him to be a little bit better the next time he comes out. Hunter Brown went off in this game, throwing his 8th consecutive quality start, the longest active streak in the majors this season so far. I mean, Garrett Crotchet, I believe is his name, for the Chicago White Sox, had another long streak of, I believe, 7 consecutive quality starts, but the Astros, I believe, snapped that. Going into Game 2 of this series, Spencer Arrighetti was more of the same in this game, as Spencer Arrighetti struck out a career-high 10 batters. I mean, he had already surpassed his career high by with 8 strikeouts in this game and padded 2 more onto that. So 10 strikeouts in the game, with the Astros winning by the final score of 7-1, I think. And then Arrighetti's 10 strikeouts are the most by an Astros pitcher this season. He's also the first Astros pitcher to throw that many strikeouts this season to this point. And then as for the scoring for the Astros, it started in the 4th inning with an RBI single by Yonier Diaz, Jose Altuve would follow with an RBI single of his own 1 inning later. And then after that, we go to the 7th inning where the Astros put up a 4 spot. It started with a sac fly by Cesar Salazar, who was taking the place on the roster of the injured Victor Caratini. Salazar has actually been pretty decent, so, obviously I certainly will miss Caratini. But at the same time, his replacement in Salazar has been not too shabby. So then as we go on here, the Astros would use a couple of their outs with Jose Altuve reaching on a fielder's choice. And then Alex Bregman also being able to take it. And then the Astros were able to take advantage of an error committed by the Rockies in this inning, as Alex Bregman had grounded into what should have been an inning-ending double play. However, the relay throw was wide, and Joey Lopez-Feder, who was on third base, was able to score a 5th run for the Astros. And then also the 3rd they would score this inning. And then Yannier Diaz padded that with another RBI single. So he got 2 hits in this game. Pena also had a good day today. He had 2 hits in this game. But as we go to the 8th inning, Sean Dubin and the bullpen were unable to preserve the shutout for the Astros, as he was able to, as the Rockies were able to score on a sac fly in the 8th inning. But that would be the only run that the Rockies would score in this game. And then Brian King, with Joe Espada opting to give some of our high leverage guys another day off, he went to Brian King, and he would end up getting his 2nd save of the season, I think. I'm not sure. But regardless of what it is, he would end up making his 2nd 1-2-3 inning appearance of the season, and the Astros would win by the final score of 7-1. So next up for the Astros, it's going to be a tough one. They're going to get ready to pack their bags for another week and a half, as they've got a 10-game road trip coming up ahead of them, and it's going to start with 3 games against the New York Mets. So that should be a pretty fun series to watch. The Mets have actually been playing some pretty good baseball as of late, so, we'll see how things go with that. Their offense is pretty good. But, at the same time, dude, our pitching has been killing it. Ronel Blanco and Framber Valdez, I believe, were named 2 starters in this series, with Sundays still being listed as to be announced. There is some word that Sean Dubin might be able to get stretched out to be a 5th starter, because unfortunately the Astros are only working with 4 healthy starters. Jake Bloss would have been a decent option, but unfortunately he is on the injured list with a shoulder issue. He thinks that he might be able to start throwing again in just maybe a day or 2. And then the Astros are hopeful that his minimum fit time of 15 days that he's required to be on the injured list might be enough for the injury to pass over. And so he might be able to get activated once that IL stint is up. Again, word is that Sean Dubin might start that game. Could be somebody else. We'll see. But the starting pitching in the last 4 games for the Astros has just been on point. They've gone 27 innings, allowing only 2 earned runs on 15 hits, with 29 strikeouts, with the league only batting 158 against them. So that is just nuts. The starting pitching has been the backbone of our rotation, and even though it's really not the way as it once was, it's still looking amazing. Ronel Blanco has had a very good season. Spencer Arrighetti has really been shining it these past few starts. Hunter Brown has really found a way to turn it around. He has been turning the corner since the start of May. This team is so back. They're back to playing 500 baseball. They have gained 5.5 games on the Seattle Mariners in the AL West division standings in just 9 days. And have also gained some ground in the wild card race. They are closer to a wild card spot than they are the division. But personally, if I could vie for a division spot, I would certainly try to go for it. So the Mariners certainly have been struggling. Their offense is just horrible. But the reason what makes them so good is their pitching. All right, I'm not going to talk about other teams on these videos. So, let me know down in the comments, how does it feel to be a 500 baseball club for the first time all season long? Obviously, we've still got a lot ahead of us, and it's going to be a tough road ahead of us here. But, obviously, we're ready. But for the most part, guys, it's looking pretty good for the Astros. They're 40-40 going into the season. So, we're almost through the official midway point of the season for them. The All-Star break, I guess, is kind of my point of the season where I would look at it. But yeah, like I said, all smiles down here in Houston. So, like I said, guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you want to watch one of my other videos, then click these ones that are above my shoulders. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.